Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and I'm here for a discussion video, and this is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about this, but with this video and this topic, we're going to be talking about favorite bands and why I personally believe that it's okay to have more than one favorite band. And the reason I feel like I have to make a video about this is, well, because I feel like there's a lot of people that feel like they have an allegiance or a commitment to a band, that like they have to commit to this particular band as their favorite just because of maybe several reasons. Maybe because of nostalgia, or maybe because they were their first band that they've ever got into or whatever. I've talked about subjects like that in particular before, but I feel like I need to point out that it is okay to have more than one favorite band, unlike some people might think, of course. Now, like I was saying before in other discussion videos, there are certain people that actually don't know the difference between first band and favorite band. Like, I know some people that say that, bands like Breaking Benjamin or Skillet are some people's favorite bands. And the reason they give that they're their favorite bands is nothing more than just nostalgia, just because they were the band that got them into music. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of bands like Skillet and especially Breaking Benjamin, but it's just the reason for people choosing specific bands. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying before, first band does not mean favorite band. Like, maybe you could ask someone, so why is this band your favorite? Well, because they were the band that got me into music, and that kind of deal. Now, obviously, people are going to have their own opinions regardless of what other people say, of course. If their first band really is their favorite band, then by all means. But it's okay to have more than one favorite band, for sure. I mean, I sometimes have the hardest time choosing a favorite band. I mean, obviously, if you were to make me choose one, I'd probably go with the band Rush. Now, Rush is definitely one of my favorite bands. I mean, top 5, if nothing else, for sure. But what if I don't just want Rush as my favorite band, What if I want to accompany them with other bands as my favorites, Maybe my favorite band isn't just Rush. What if I want to have Dream Theater or Metallica as a favorite band of mine as well? You see what I'm saying, And I think as a true music fan, you should have a hard time picking a number one favorite band. Because I do know that there are some people that do have an easier time choosing just one favorite band and have a commitment to that band. And one thing that also this is a particular thing that kind of gets on my nerves, is when some people act like music fans, but they're only really obsessed with one band. You know what I'm saying? I know some people that are like this with Breaking Benjamin because, well, Breaking Benjamin definitely has some of the most outrageous fans that I can think of. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but it's true. I know some people that are Breaking Benjamin fans that, have this massive commitment to them. And that's what they mostly listen to or whatever, you know what. But the thing about it is like, sometimes it's hard to call some of these people music fans if they're really only obsessed with one band. Like, they only take one band seriously. Like, maybe these fans of Breaking Benjamin, maybe they also listen to bands like Red or Skillet or 3 Days Grace or Shinedown. And those particular bands are mainly just substitutes to them. Like, they're just there to the side whenever they get sick of listening to Breaking Benjamin, which is a rare occasion anyway. So that's something that can definitely get a little frustrating as well. But the point of this video is, it's okay to have more than one favorite band. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like when some people think that, if you're new to a band, it means that they can't be one of your favorite bands or whatever. But, you look at a band like Rush, for example, who is one of my favorite bands. I've gotten into them in some point in 2018, so only a few years. So does that mean that Rush can't be my favorite band just because I just got into them a few years ago? So, there's a time limit for favorite bands. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't add up to me. Like, your favorite band can be a band that you discovered within the last few years or so, you know? That's just the whole thing with that. And here's the thing, too. I've changed my favorite bands a lot in my musical journey. A part of that is mainly just musical growth, which is one of those things that you do got to consider as well, is musical growth. That is definitely something that is worth mentioning, because with musical growth, you know, you tend to do have a change of favorites when it comes to your favorite bands. You know, there was once a time where Breaking Benjamin was actually my favorite band. But you want to know how old I was when Breaking Benjamin was my favorite band? 15 years old. You know, I was still in high school. With these last few years of my musical journey, I've been really challenging myself to get into bands that I wouldn't have been able to get into back in high school. But some people do just want to play it a little too safe, and there's people that are comfortable doing that. So there's nothing really satisfying about that in particular. You know, you're never going to have a satisfying musical journey if you just play it safe all the time and only listen to bands that sound like what you already listened to, basically, you know. And there was also a time where Demon Hunter was my number one favorite band, you know, for the longest time too, actually. I mean, for a really long time I considered Demon Hunter my favorite band, basically from 2014 up to 2017, and that's pretty much how it was for me. And my favorite bands have kind of changed a lot since, you know. And here's something else you got to consider as well. Sometimes you get tired of listening to these favorite bands, you know, because I remember, you know, there was a time where for a brief bit I considered Iron Maiden one of my top 3 favorite bands. Now, Iron Maiden is a great band, and I still enjoy them to this day. Don't get me wrong. I mean, as a metalhead, I think all metalheads should check out Iron Maiden. But they are a good example when I think of a case where I've listened to them so much that I just can't consider them a favorite anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those cases where you feel like you get sick and tired of their music, that you just pretty much don't care to listen to them for a little while. You see what I'm saying? That can happen with any band, though. That's the thing. But of course, you know, you could still make a commitment to a band, of course. Now, I'm not saying, you know, just because a band was your favorite, you know, 10 years ago doesn't mean that they shouldn't be your favorite anymore. That's not where I'm getting at here. But I feel like more people should add on to that. You know, you don't have to have just one favorite band. And it's okay to struggle picking a number one favorite band for sure. Because, like I was saying before, as a true music fan, I do think that you should have a difficult time choosing a number one favorite band. I know I do half the time. Now, like I said, I would easily put Rush in the top 3. But there's other bands that, you know, have a little bit of competition as well. You know? That's just the thing about it. And a lot of my favorite bands are actually bands that I just discovered within the last few years. So like I was saying before, you know, there's not a time limit when it comes to favorite bands. Like, you can't just look at a band that you got into a few years ago and say, well, it's impossible for that band to be one of my favorite bands since I just discovered them a few years ago. That is the wrong mentality to have, because you do need to look at music very objectively. You know, it's not about a nostalgia thing. You know, your favorite band should not just be based around nostalgia. You know, it should also be based around how you really feel about the band in general, and how you feel about the musicianship, and what the musicianship is like in general. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the thing about it. I have multiple favorite bands, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having several favorite bands and even having a hard time choosing one favorite band. You know? That's all I pretty much got to say here. So that's my video. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and take care.